It's our great pleasure at Tresham College to have the second time visitor in Dan from DSS, and he's going to do a masterclass. Now, before we get our keyboards out and we start suggesting that we're showing the learners that we're not wearing gloves, we're not wearing a respirator with an outside air source, okay, or maybe a tank on the back. We're not wearing, I don't know, grade 3 goggles, sun cream and all the rest of it. We've had a chat about the PPE required for this. Potentially, we're in a controlled condition, so please do not comment below.
Yes, I take full responsibility for anything that is about to happen.
Okay.
Yeah? Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this board up here. So the key things I'm looking for are nails, and that signifies, well, actually, it should be consistent nails. So if you look across 3 or 4 boards, you'll notice that there must be a joist running down here. Sometimes you have, if a board has been up before or there's something below, there could be a couple of random nails, you cut it and there's nothing there. So you're looking for consistency across the board. So what I would do now, if I was prepared, I would have had my set square in and I'd just draw a pencil line just one side of the nails. So chances are, if the houses have been built well, you might even be able to see it. So if this was someone's house, you can clean out the boards a bit and you should be able to see the joist below. So I know it is there. So those nails are ever so slightly off to one side. So what I'll probably do is cut to that side of those nails. And this one, probably cut to that side, maybe. Right, so first of all, now I've decided where I'm going to cut. It's been so long since I've done this, I don't have to do this in the office, Gaz. Right, so when I'm using this, a lot of people use circular saws because you can set the depth and stuff like this. As I mentioned earlier, I had a bit of an accident with one of those before, so I like to use this tool. Ideally, you wouldn't use a blade that long, you'd use a stubbier one, but you can sort of manipulate it by bringing this out and forth, but I'm going to try and do it in the most difficult way possible so you can see what the real life is like. So what I do, get as close as you can to your board like that, and if you just start it off slow, because if you go for it, no, it doesn't do it now, it'll jump around, and if this is a finished floorboard, you're going to go and just completely wreck it. So my cut line is here, I'm starting just after it, because if I start in line with the cut, when I go to pull that whole corner is going to rip. So go probably ½ inch past where you're going to cut, straight through the tongue, and obviously I'm going to be cutting across the joist, so you'll see the blade disappears there completely. So that's gone. Then when I get to there, I'm hitting joist. So just level it off a little bit. And then you should feel it fall back in. Like that. So I'm now the other side of the joist. Obviously I don't want to cut it like that because there's probably cables, pipes, bird, like anything that could be under there, money. You don't want to go too mad of it. So bring it out to a nice level. So I know I'm only cutting that deep at an angle. Because I'm old, I have to stand up and do this. So now again, I'm at this side and I've hit the other joist. So again, level it off. And now I'm across the other side. That's probably a little bit excessive. I didn't need to go that far, but again, I haven't done any damage to the board. I've literally just cut the tongue out. So do the same with the other side. So nice soft cut. So, for the sake of the video, swap over and do it with a multi-tool, shall we?
Yeah.
So, now, like I say, I would normally have my set square and my line, everything drawn out. Haven't even got a pencil. Do we have a pencil? Thanks, sir. Like Blue Peter. Anyone? 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 Thanks, sir. Apprentice. Get that on there. You do know I'm going to cut this and it's not going to be in the right place. Right, and then same sort of thing. I tend to start probably, well, what's that, 2 or 3 mil in, because if you start right on the edge, like I said, as before, chances are you're probably going to bump, and if like this is an old Victorian house or something like this, you're going to end up chipping this, and then Mrs. Smith is not going to pay your excessive bill, and you won't be able to buy more cool stuff for your van. So, start a little bit inside, like that. Too close to the edge, you get that tiny little scuff. In this respect, or if it's under carpet, it doesn't really matter, but you're obviously always trying to preserve the board. So, and obviously always have a decent bit. You might want to time lapse this bit. That's one side done. I'm out of breath. One thing to think about when you do that is you will feel, so because we've already cut these, when you start cutting this, you'll feel the pressure release and you'll feel the board will sort of pop up a little bit and then you'll hit the joist below. It's just one of those things, it's just experience. You won't, I've done this before, literally gone at it like an absolute maniac, got the board up and there's been 2 pipes running straight across the top and I've literally just mullered them to death. Not quite gone through them, but in older properties that's always something to consider because they used to notch the top of joists and just run the heating pipe straight across. So that is something to consider when taking up boards. So I'll do this other side and then we'll try and get her out. A nice soft office hands, Gaz. Office boy hands.
You're middling this off the centre of the joist, yeah?
I'm going, what I'll do is I'll go one side of the nails. So I know that's the edge of my joist. And I want to be a decent amount over that I can then pilot it and re-screw it. Because you never fix the boards back down with the same nails.
Because what will you get if you do that?
Moaned at by my old boss.
Oh, squeaky. The same nails back in the thing, it always squeaks. You've just got to screw it back down.
You do indeed. Sorry lads, I'm in noisy again. So now in theory, smart Alec.
Not left yet, Dan. It's PG still.
Nearly. I was trying to be smart. So you should be able to take it up.
What bit of kit's that is? You don't mind naming the bit of kit you're using now? So what's that? What are you calling the bar?
Well, as you can see, it's what I use to dig garden lights in with. But it's just a basic crowbar. And you should, so depending on which side of the nails you cut, if you cut the other side of the nails, what I tend to do is you'll sort of start to lift it a little bit, the nails will come out. I should have done that, shouldn't I? Just made it difficult now, put it back down. But that should, in theory, just come out like that.